Good morning. Welcome to Unity Longmont Spiritual Center on Sunday, April 6th. It's Palm Sunday, and that is one of our highest holidays. So it's on Palm Sunday that we celebrate the Master Teacher Jesus's triumphant entry into Jerusalem. And it's especially at this time, I think, during the COVID-19, when we're all under a great deal of stress, that we look to all the masters that can teach us how to manage our life. And so a reminder that when Jesus came into Jerusalem, he did so on a donkey, which told everyone he was coming in peace. A warrior would have come on a horse. And he came humble, although multitudes were calling him a king. He understood that he was a king in a whole new way. So right now, I feel like everyone in the world is on some kind of journey to Jerusalem. And Jesus knew that although this was a triumphant entrance, there would be pain and sorrow ahead. And we also know that. So let us remember to be at peace and peaceful, and let us remember to be humble and to support and serve each other. And so it is. So this morning,
The song is Give Yourself to Love. Kind friends all gather round. There's something I would say. What brings us together here has blessed us all today. Love has made us certain it holds us all inside. Strangers are as family and loneliness can't hide. Give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Love is born in fire. It's planted like a seed. Love can't give you everything, but it gives you what you need. Love comes when you are ready. Love comes when you're afraid. Be your greatest teacher, the best friend you have made. Give yourself to love. Love is what you're after. Open up your hearts to the tears and laughter. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. Give yourself to love. I have to share with you that Connie off to the side was doing a hand motion to the words of that. Give yourself to love. It's really cute. Maybe we can get her to do it in front of the camera sometime.
thank you. This morning, we are blessed to have Clint Brown and Connie Schaefer with us to provide music. And we also have Cliff Clusen with us today to do our talk and lead our meditation. So I welcome both of you, and we will begin this with a prayer. Taking a breath together. We take this moment together to align our thoughts and feelings with the divine presence. Each breath reminds us of the infinite resources of the planet and the healing power of divine love. As we take our next breath, we see the world bathed in golden light in our mind's eye. There are no boundaries this light cannot pass. and no boundaries that this light cannot cross, and no places this light cannot reach. Together, we see disease and contagion transformed into agape love. The power of love heals and restores all life on this planet as it lifts each being to wholeness and health. Joy and gratitude fill our hearts as we know and experience God's love. And so it is.
So this is the Unity song. Unity, unity, Sunday, that's the place to be. Joyful spirits, you and me, surrounded by the light. Not much talk of guilt or sin, surely you'll be welcomed in, greeted by a joyful grin, grounded in the now. Unity, unity, that's the place to be. Joyful spirits, you and me, surrounded by the light. Jesus Christ, Mohammed too, Buddha has a special view. Sufi spirits shining through, united in the love. Unity, unity, Sunday, that's the place to be. Joyful spirits, you and me, surrounded by the light. Come on down to Unity, it's a great community. Singing helps your soul be free, lightens up the heart. Unity, unity, Sunday, that's the place to be. Joyful spirits, you and me, surrounded by the light.
Thank you. Thank you, Clint and Connie. And now I'd like to introduce someone I know as Cliff Clusen, who is a very generous, kind, and spiritual person. This is his first time for speaking with us. So thank you, Cliff, and I'll let you go ahead and take over at this time.
Good morning. I'm actually speaking to you from the meditation place where I am the only person here when I am here, and I put up, it's kind of a reflection, I put up the Unity art for us. Why I'm a Buddhist priest? I was raised kind of a liberal Presbyterian. My mother believed in God, my father believed in science, but in college, in the mid-70s, I've read a lot about different Eastern religions, and there was one book in particular called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind, which sounds like an easy book, Beginner's Mind, but it's actually, it's a pretty deep book. But I was strongly influenced and started meditating in that tradition, which is silent meditation. I went to San Francisco. The Bay Area is kind of where this type of Buddhism has the little bit our Mecca, Bay Area, but it's been spreading. But the Japanese teacher came from San Francisco to Minneapolis right as I was finishing up college. His name was Katagiri Roshi. He has about 4 published books of his talks. And he was like a father figure to me. So after college, I moved to Minneapolis from Wisconsin, and I worked full time and got married. He offered meditation an hour and a half, 5 in the morning, 6 days a week, an hour and a half the evening, 5 days a week, and weekend retreats. So it was pretty intensive training with a traditional Japanese monk. He'd been a monk since he was 18 years old. He had a profound influence on me, profound influence on others. And then, although I moved to Boulder County 31 years ago, around the time he passed away from painful lymphoma cancer, I stayed in that tradition, going back to the Midwest and starting a Zen center here. My talk today is going to be a little bit experiential. It's mainly going to be meditation instruction. It'll be a guided meditation on how to sit in silent meditation, which is a little contradiction, and we might have 3 minutes of silence. But Buddhism, often a Buddha statue, not actually the restaurant statue with the fat guy with his hands up laughing, that's not actually Buddha. That was a happy monk that gave out candy to everyone and became associated with good fortune. My children, when they see that fat, happy Buddha, they say that they think that's their dad. But my aspiration was, of course, to be more the skinny Buddha who's sitting in meditation posture, very peaceful and serene. So the heart of not all types of Buddhism, maybe not even the majority, is there's many, many types of Buddhism, but in our Zen tradition, we say we take the posture of the Buddha, and through our bodily posture, the qualities of wisdom and compassion just start to organically manifest. So it's very simplistic thinking. Just sit down in a relative posture of Buddha, which I'll go into, and just organically, naturally, your body, your mind will progress, will develop, whether you want it to or not, perhaps. So behind the other thing people have really gotten out of Buddhism lately, it's a little bit like yoga had roots in Hinduism. So mindfulness, the simple practice of paying more attention to our immediate experience, has roots in Buddhist teaching and in meditation. The way I explain mindfulness is, it seems to me there's kind of 2 things going on in my consciousness. One is, of course, I'm in the present moment. We are all already in the present moment, of course. And very naturally, we're aware we don't fall down the stairs, we don't get in car accidents, we don't cut ourselves when we're cooking. We're aware. But simultaneously, it seems like there is a mental narrative. And when I look at my mental narrative, it's based a lot on my relationships to other people and to society. And in college, I studied evolutionary biology, so this makes total sense to me. Humans, we do not survive as individuals. We survive because society has brought food to the grocery store. We survive because when I look at houses, I sometimes think, I wonder who the guys were who built that house. Humans, our total physical survival is based on other people. So it's very naturally that our nervous system is deeply wired to monitor our relations with society and other people. So, of course, when you sit down in silence, even then, you are going to continue to process our relationships. But I think poets, meditators, people have found, if you can shift your energy a little bit to, instead of what I call the merry-go-round thinking of our current issues, which I sometimes call our psychodrama, like, for me, like who needs soap operas, when we got our life. But if you're walking down the street, instead of people, their head down and their face looking very worried, how about you pay attention to your immediate surroundings and your body? So maybe you lift your head up and you're like, wow, there's a cloud. That's beautiful. This brick wall. Wow, that's red. That's a beautiful color. And people's faces, like, wow, that's an interesting person. How about we apply more energy to our immediate experience? And the mind is super quick. So there's immediate experience, and then there's our obsessive narrative, and they're both kind of happening, but technically in an instant, when you see the beautiful cloud, your compulsive worrying has stopped for that instant. You might not believe it stopped because, like I said, it's really quick. And then meditation is a chance. I see it kind of like a scientific laboratory. We turn off the radio, we stop looking at our phones. We may not answer the phone, or turn off our phone. Let's just be in the present moment and see what happens. But I'll be the first to admit this sitting in silence is a little bit daunting. And guided meditations are great. But I'll walk us through what I call what to do when you're sitting in silence. I'm afraid people sit down, they go, okay, I'm going to meditate. Let me see. I'm not supposed to be thinking. And then they're like, wow, I'm thinking a lot. Like, I'm really bad at meditation, bad meditator, and well, why do I want to do something I'm bad at? That's no fun. And then after a minute, people may never try this again the rest of their lives, which I think is unfortunate, as I'll get to some benefits of meditation. So I'll get into this, but foremost is to accept what we call monkey mind, accept that your mind, your stomach exudes digestive juices, your glands secrete hormones, your mind secretes thoughts. That is totally the way it should be. And I'll probably mention this several times. By sitting in the upright, stable posture and observing your thoughts, I compare it to having tea with a friend. You're just listening to yourself. And you're accepting, you would accept your friend's problems, in part because they are not your problems, and in part because you care about your friend. Well, it's the same in meditation. We have a little objectivity from our mental chatter. They say don't believe everything you think. So you have a little more distance objectivity as you observe your mental chatter instead of being lost in it. And then you become intimate with yourself. You get to know yourself through this unusual practice of sitting in silence. So I created what I call the landscape of the present moment. So what is the present moment? How do I know I'm doing it? Because that critical part of my mind is sure telling me, I'm not doing it, right? So the landscape of the present moment, we start with our body. Now, some of you might be on couches. It might be, just don't worry too much about this first part, but generally, we see meditation as something we do with our body, not so much our mind. Well, first of all, I don't know where the mind ends and the body begins. I guess somewhere in the neck, we imagine. But anyhow, I don't even like the word mind or body. Sometimes I like to use the word nervous system. Our nervous system runs through our whole body. So Buddhist practice is, I'd say, almost athletic, a little bit, our body. So there's two things, main things with our body. So one is sitting up straight. I sometimes, my intro class, I have people, it's like yoga, try to reach up and touch the ceiling to the extent you can. Stretch, 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 and then drop your arms. When you drop your arms, keep your back straight. So I did some yoga the other day, and they're like, just extend your spine. The base of your spine's dropping, the top is lifting. So this straight back takes some getting used to, and you might have some sensations associated with it. I try to use the word sensation before I would use the word pain. But anyhow, the energy from an upright spine, to the extent you can, really changes your mental attitude. But at the same time, you can really relax. You can keep a straight spine and still relax many parts of your body. So I'll start the guided meditation here with us sitting, with an upright spine to the extent you can. Don't worry about it. And then you can relax your facial muscles. You can relax. You can have a soft, unfocused gaze. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Relax your cheekbones. And then even if your mouth is closed, you can really relax your jaw. We carry a lot of tension in our jaw. And you can relax your throat. You can relax the back of your neck. Oh, you might have your, hands on your lap or on your knees. Very naturally, our hands and arms are kind of relaxed. You can let that relaxation radiate up to your shoulders. We carry a lot of tension in our shoulders. You can just let them relax, let gravity drop your shoulders. You can relax your shoulder blades. And as we work now in our main torso area, I like to incorporate breathing a little bit. If you breathe in, you can feel your chest expand. And as you breathe out, your chest kind of collapses and relaxes. Do that again. So actually the breathing in is a relaxation. And the breathing out is a relaxation. You can relax your lower back. And then see if you can, as you breathe deeply, see if you can feel your belly expand. And shrink back as you breathe out. So what's happening is our lungs expand, our organs move, and then that creates a movement in our abdomen. So the second part of the landscape of the present moment, which I say is your breath. Sometimes I think breath is the most important part of meditation. It's really connects us with ourselves physically and spiritually, emotionally. So the practice is to just observe our breath. First time you try this, your breath might feel a little self-conscious, but the point is to let your breath do whatever it wants to do. And you can pay attention to your breath by noticing these subtle, called subtle amoeba-like movements of your torso. I already covered the chest and the abdomen expanding, and I don't like the word contracting, I like the word, releasing, dropping back in. But also your shoulders may rise as you breathe in. Fall as you breathe out. The sides of your body may expand as you breathe in. Collapse as you breathe out. If you have a little pain in your back, you can breathe into that pain and have that area expand and relax. So the natural rhythm of our breath is very soothing. I compare it to sitting on a porch swing on a summer day, or gentle waves lapping on the shore of a peaceful lake. So we're hanging out with our body and our breath. We pay so little attention sometimes to our body and our breath unless they're having trouble. But our body and breath have been so dependable. They are so nourishing for us. So we spend some time honoring our simple body, and our simple, wondrous breath. Just hanging out together. The other parts of the landscape are our senses. So in this place, sound isn't an interruption. Sound is proof that you are in the present. So we have our ears open and notice sound. And it's recommended your eyes kind of half open so we know what room we're in, because our purpose is to be here in this room. And then, of course, the fourth aspect of the landscape of the current moment is our mental activity. And I admit our mental activity is a lot more interesting than our breath. But we try to, by returning to our breath once in a while, returning to our body, even though we might have some sensations in our body, we just accept those. That puts our mental activity in balance. It's just something going on in the landscape. All sorts of things happen in landscapes. If you're driving by a landscape, things arise, things disappear. So just like we might accept the sound of traffic or the sound of wind in the trees, we just accept our mental chatter. And we don't worry about it. We just let it be. it turns out that trying to turn off your mental chatter is just more mental chatter. So the road to peace and silence is actually just being less interested in our mental chatter instead of picking a fight with it. I'm going to stop talking for 2 minutes and let you experiment with these landscape of the present moment, and then I'll ring a bell. Then in Buddhism, that's one of the many times we bow, is at the end of when the bell rings. So I think I have 5 minutes more. Is that right, David? I was going to talk about the benefits of meditation. So like I said, it's based on the body. So sitting relatively still, it's okay if you move, but we try not to fidget. Your body settles down. So often the agitation that we suffer from is our body being agitated, but sitting still and alert. And then sometimes it's like, no, this is my body. I want to get up. And I'm like, no, I said I'm going to sit for 5 minutes. I think I can do 5 minutes. Go team, go. You can make 5 minutes. I think you can. So naturally, sitting still, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, your body settles and your mind settles. And qualities of patience and forbearance. Of course, there's many. We can develop patience in meditation. Ideally, we'd like to think that carries over to everything, but not so much sometimes. But that's a good wake-up call. Like, wow, I can be peaceful in meditation. What about standing in line in the grocery store? That's interesting. Also, this meditation, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it's very rejuvenating if you do it. It's similar to sleep, but it has this conscious aspect where we're, sometimes even when we're sleepy in meditation, I think our subconscious and conscious are kind of communicating to each other. But I say meditation ideally is restful. It actually gives you some energy. So it's similar to sleep in that way. We all say, I don't have time to meditate. 15 minutes, Of course now, I think maybe more people do have time to meditate. So sitting in silence like that, letting your mind be, creates what we call spaciousness. But my teacher was very clear, spaciousness is not spaciness. He said, it's not being spaced out, but maybe a little spaced out, it's okay. But it's kind of a spacious quality. And in this, sometimes I think it's like putting oil on a rusty gear or opening up a window to get fresh air into our mind. So with the spaciousness, I think we can see more clearly, be less confused. And also I said meditation has this calming aspect through our breath. And when it's calm, we can understand life more clearly. Also, the spaciousness allows something like intuition to arise. Like I said, as I observe my thinking, I call it merry-go-round thinking. It's like, oh, if I think of this problem one more time, I'm sure I'll solve it. But it's like, wait a minute, I've tried that 1,000 times. It's the same thought. So the spaciousness allows for some new stuff to come up, even though merry-go-round thinking still occurs. And as I mentioned, this meditation is getting to know yourself, becoming intimate with yourself, becoming friends with yourself. And it can seem like, no, this is inhuman. This is just like cold and heartless to sit alone in silence. And then sometimes very naturally we can listen to very good mind guided meditations that say, accept yourself, stop judging yourself. That's very good. But if we have the actual experience with ourselves in silence of accepting ourselves, just having non-judgmental mind, if we develop that through direct experience, instead of relying on somebody to guide us through that, I think that direct experience, can be pretty deep when you kind of work it out yourself. I think so. A big thing I think comes out of this type of meditation is actually confidence. It just kind of wells up from your body being in this stable, alert, yet calm experience. That's my talk. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was very needed at this time. We all need increasing numbers of skills to soothe ourselves and reset our central nervous system. So thank you for that opportunity. And it's at this time that we will hear music, I think, from Connie and Clint.
So I'm noticing that indeed it is springtime. The flowers are coming up and people are out digging in the dirt. So to acknowledge the changing of the seasons, the garden song. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warn them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Pulling weeds and picking stones, we are made of dreams and bones. Feel the need to sun and rain. Find my way in nature's train. Tune my body and my brain to the music from the land. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warn them from below till the rains come tumbling down. Plant your rows straight and long, temper them with prayer and song. Mother Earth will make you strong if you give her love and care. Old crow watching hungrily from his perch in yonder tree. In my garden I'm as free as a feathered leaf up there. Inch by inch, row by row, gonna make this garden grow. All it takes is a rake and a hoe and a piece of fertile ground. Inch by inch, row by row, someone bless these seeds I sow. Someone warn them from below till the rains come tumbling down.
Thank you, Connie and Clint. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
So it's at this time that we are going to go into our new virtual donation by taking a breath and placing our hands on our heart. And we will take a few breaths and share the light and love from our own heart with the world. And Clint, if you would provide us with another piece of music.
There's a healing power in the music shared between us. There's beauty in the love our hearts can know. I count you as a blessing, pure and joyful. I'll carry your love with me as I go. And it feels so good to know now where I'm going. As I journey each step along the way, and I pray the bonds between us will grow stronger, like a flower turning toward the light of day. There's a healing power in the music shared between us. There's beauty in the love our hearts can know. I count you as a blessing, pure and joyful. I'll carry your love with me as I go. There's a vision unfolding before us. I can see it ever clearer, hear it call. As we open our hearts to the music, shared between us. There's beauty in the love our hearts can know. I count you as a blessing, pure and joyful. I'll carry your love with me as I go. Please carry my